Hello, Mr. Randy Duck, and welcome back for another video. And today I've got 3 replays to show you in the most overpowered tank in the game, which is the Tier 9 American Premium Tank Destroyer, the Night Stalker. Now, I've got these replays out to show you today. That is because this tank is being released for free on Armour in yesterday's Halloween event, Armour. You can essentially earn either this tank for free or 2 of the older Halloween tanks for free. So basically you're going to choose either to earn 2 of the older ones or 1 of this tank, which is, you know, hideously overpowered. So I have been dreading them giving this tank away for free, just because honestly the only reason it wasn't too bad was because there wasn't that many of them in the matchmaking. Now you're going to have a lot of them in the matchmaking, and it's going to, yeah, I'm not looking forward to that if I'm honest. This tank's got 4,227 DPM in this build at Tier 9, and that is after the crew recent update, the crew and equipment update, where everyone's DPM and accuracy has been nerfed, where this tank is not affected by the accuracy nerfs one bit. That is because the rockets it has a 6-shot autoloader rocket with 320 alpha per shot, with 280 penetration in your standard rockets, 330 penetration in your premium rockets, are not affected by accuracy. They've got slow shell velocity, but essentially you pull the trigger and your rocket goes where your rocket goes in a direct line. It is not affected by accuracy or armature whatsoever, which does mean on this tank you do not need to run any accuracy perks whatsoever, because you will just be wasting your time. This tank is not affected by accuracy, which means you've got a lot more perks and equipment stuff you can use. You know, don't have to run any of the accuracy perks whatsoever. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to get into the 3 replays I've got to show off this tank, and really just to try and highlight my point of the craziness of this tank. Okay, so the first replay is on Pilsen, 2 enemy artilleries, and we're top tier. So sorry any poor tier 7s, but you don't stand a chance unfortunately against this tank. If you want to see the crew and equipment setup I'm using, you can see that at the bottom of the screen. As I can say, you do not need any accuracy perks, so that frees up another 2 perks for you to use. This is a quick replay, and this particular one was just to highlight my point, right? I'm going to play very aggressively here and just watch how much damage I can get in a short space of time with very little support. Now, I have actually got a replay in this tank. I think I did like 11,000 damage in 4 minutes. That was before the crew changes, so if you want to check that out, you can see that it's just absolutely brutal. Like I say, this tank's really not affected by the changes to the crew and accuracy at all. So already got 3 shots in there. You can actually fire on the move with this tank because it's not affected by the accuracy. There's the only real threat to me here, another enemy Night Stalker, and I'm going to try and get some of the damage in him as quickly as possible. And already I'm up to about 2,000 damage at the start of this game. And I am going to be in an awkward position because I'm going to probably be outgunned. There's going to be a lot of tanks here. My main sort of strength is just trying to get the damage into the enemy team as quickly as I possibly can, which is possible with this tank. It does actually have pretty good armour, this tank, with 10 degrees of gun depression. So when you hold down, you can actually bounce quite a lot of shots. I'm not really hold down here, but just watch, you know, poor little tier 8 there, which got tracked, and boom, boom, you are out of there. Now we're up to 4,000 damage, and this game has only just got started. Like I say, unfortunately, I'm kind of outgunned here, but I am, every time someone overpeaks, you know, look how quickly you can get this reload up. Like about 17 seconds, you can get the reload. If you run the last stand and you perk, which I do, and you get down to like low HP, your reload goes to like 12 seconds if you have that perk on, by the way. So that's kind of crazy. Poor tier 8, track him in place. Just deleted him, just absolutely deleted him. I'm now up 5,000 damage. It's been less than 2 minutes. I'm on 5,000 damage here. You know, it's absolutely crazy. It's brutal. What other tank can do this? You know, what other tank can be reloaded again and be ready to go and do this? Have the speed this tank has, by the way. It still has good camo as well. You do not want to play this tank as a tank destroyer though. That's where people go wrong. you play this tank as a frontline, tank. You want to be frontline, you want to be brawling. That is how this tank plays. As I still got 1,000 hit points here. I'm going to try and get some shots into this heavy tank. Unfortunately, enemy T30 is going to come around. Now, he does put a big one into me. I do manage to take him out. But here, this is the only threat I've got. The other enemy, Night Stalker. And he does take me out, unfortunately. And if I didn't have this enemy Night Stalker here, probably would have done 10k damage, if I'm honest. Realistically, but I just included that one. Like I said, it's only a quick replay, but look, 3 minutes I do 6,500 damage. It was really just to show my point on that. But we've got 2 more replays to come, so let's move on to the second replay in the video. Okay, here we are for replay number 2. This time we are on Sand River. This time it's tier 10 matchmaking and encounter battle. We are platooned up in this replay with our pal Davfal. And initially we're going to go and try and go to dunes to see if we can get any shots in. Like I say, really, you want to be the best maps of this tank is where you can get close to the enemy team and just get those shots in. Because you don't have to be leading those shells too much. It does have slow shell velocity, but you just remember the shell goes in a straight line. So that's how you need to play this. I hit an early shot, which is never ideal, but we're still in a good position. Like I say, we have 10 degrees of gunner pressure. We can play this. If anything tries to cross, we should be able to get those shots in there. We don't have to worry about the artillery because there is none. So that is another, we don't have to worry about the tanks which are in front of us. We are going to try and get some shots in. Unfortunately, this enemy tank destroyer is sort of turrets facing us. It's going to be a difficult pen for us here. But we might be able to go through the super tractor of that heavy there through the turret with our 330 heat pen. So we're not going to lose any shell penetration over distance. Now we're able to take that enemy TD out because he turns his turret, and yeah, that's just filthy. Like I say, those rockets just go in a straight line. So if something stationary like that, you can just hit them pretty easily because it is pinpoint accuracy. They go where they say they're going to go. They don't sort of detail off. They go in a direct straight line. It has 100% accuracy. It's just got just slow shell velocity. We get another shot into this enemy Clipper, the 58 heavy here. Hopefully we can try and finish him off, but no, he just gets into the cover. But we are picking up some assistance damage as well. Put us on to sort of 1,500 damage. We're going to go on to reload shortly because I've not really got anything to shoot at and we want to get our full clip in. Like I said, the reload is just really, it's like 17 seconds. It's crazy, right? You've got like a 2,000 damage per clip, roughly. A little bit less. But if you hit every shot, it's about that. We've got enemy type here. We can go straight through the type very, very reliably. Getting some shots in. You see we've got the 10 degrees of gun depression, so we can play these ridge lines quite effectively. Ideally, I'd like to be closer, but when these tanks are sort of slow and heavy like this, we can still hit them over distance. So we're getting some shots in, putting us onto, just shy of 3,000 damage here with 3,000 assistance. So we're having a pretty decent game for this tier 9 tank. I'm just waiting to try and get my opportunity to get shots into these type. I would like to cross and get closer to them, but at the moment it just doesn't seem the right time to do so. We get a shot into that enemy TD there, damaging his engine, I believe. We can't quite get some shots. We've sort of got small shots in this type, but our rockets won't go through destructible cover, similar to how the heat is. So it's awkward for us to hit. We do manage to lead and get a shot into that Barlow, damaging his ammo rack, putting us on to over 3,000 damage now with over 3,000 assistance. And assistance is still coming in. We are in a hold down position. We're almost reloaded. Maybe we can kill this bar. We're going to gamble to see if he's still there. Unfortunately not, but we're going to just put a couple more shots in just in case. Like I say, it doesn't really matter. We have to go and reload because a reload just doesn't take that long at all. Enemy Progetto gets spotted. That is unfortunate for him. We get a couple shots in. We track him in place. We actually put him onto a one shot there, putting us onto about 4,000 damage with 8 tanks remaining and 3,000 assistance here. We're on reload, and now it's about that time we cross and get into the battle because Davfel is moving up to the sort of B1-2 line area. The rest of the tanks are probably going to be on the ridge lines in the dunes, so we want to get over there as quick as we can, close the distance, so you can see if we can get any more damage out of this game. We're on, 4,000 damage. Yeah, 3,000 assistance. So we're about sort of 8k combined there, or 7k combined, I should say. But we should be able to get some more out of this game. There's still 19% hit points. We just need to get a little bit closer. I still have all my hit points here. I bounce a shot as we go in. We are going in quite aggressively. Probably will drop some hit points on the fall there, but thankfully not too many. But it's really a case of I just need to full send it. Otherwise I'm not going to get any more damage out of this game. Thankfully there is a medium tank in front of us though. We should be able to take him out if we can track him in place. We actually, yeah, he's going to face hug us here, which is a bit of a mistake, but I guess he was caught out in the open. There wasn't a lot he could really do, unfortunately. We're on about 5,000 damage with 2 kills. We're on the reload now, and this last remaining tier 10 medium tank, the Soviet medium tank, is pretty much full health by the looks of things. It's just whether we can get there in time before our friendly team take him out. This has been a bit of a steamroll really, 14 versus 14 tanks to 1. It's just whether I can get there. I pretty much know he's going to be over these ridges somewhere. There he is, pretty much full health. He is starting to take some shots in. We're going to fire on the move. Like I say, that won't affect our axis, so firing on the move is fine. We go for the track shot just to keep him there, and we take him out just like that, putting us onto 6,000 damage and 3 kills with about 2,500 blocked, I think. Yeah, about 2,600 blocked. So it's over 2k base XP, we get the high caliber and the first class. But let's move on to the final replay then of the video. Okay, so here we are for the final replay. This time we are on Fisherman's Bay, where there is 1 enemy artillery, 1 enemy light tank, and we are platooned up with Davfell again. Now we are going to play quite aggressively here because it is also tier 9 matchmaking. And I essentially want to full send the 1-2 line. And the reason I want to do that is because it's the sort of thing I can do in this tank. Because if I push all the way down to the end, I will have my 10 degrees of gun depression. And it will force the enemy team to either be spotted and not be able to lose their spot. So we can potentially get shot at my tanks on a 1-2 line. Or full send over the ridge into me. But if they do that, then it's not the sort of tank they want to be doing that against. You know, I'm going to kill pretty much most tanks in the game if that happens. And that's nothing to do with me. That's just to do with the tank, if I'm honest. So I'm going to push in this poor tier 8 atomic medium. He's pushed in to try and spot for his team. Unfortunately, I need to delete him because he's going to be in an awkward position for me. And there's just nothing he can do about this to stop this, unfortunately. There is literally nothing he can do. He might get a shot into me, but really he's just going to die. And like I say, not much he could do really about that. And we take him out just like that. Pick up 1 kill, and now we can move on with our goal of keeping these targets detected. The only real problem for me is the enemy artillery, the enemy fun police. That is going to be causing the problem because he will be able to land shots into me depending where he is. And as you can see, those shots are starting to come into my direction. So that's the main problem for me. I'm going to try and delete a tank because we are somewhat outgunned here. And essentially I want to kill the tanks as quickly as I can because that means there's less chance of me getting killed by the artillery if I can take these out. So we take out that tier 8 tank destroyer. Waffle, I think, lands a shot into me there, and I need to back up somewhat. Artillery still trying to land shots into me. I am hold down to these tanks. If it wasn't for the artillery, I'd be in a very comfortable position because I can just sort of out DPM these. There is enemy Lorraine, who I think is platooned up with the artillery there, so he's probably going to try and focus on me, I imagine, because it would make sense. Artillery is hitting me. Waffle gets a shot into me. I will clip out this Waffle though, or at least I should do. We kill the Waffle. Fire, what are we on now? Just shy of 4,000 damage, get the 3rd kill. We have lost quite a few hit points in order to do that, but we have, you know, we've certainly got the damage towards our hit points lost. So we've done well there, and we blocked 3,500 damage. You know, this armour is pretty effectively when you're hold down, especially when you're coming across sort of tier 8s and tier 7s. You know, if I'm honest, if there's a tier 7 against a Night Stalker, there's literally nothing they can do about it if the Night Stalker chooses to kill them. I'm going to play a little bit patient now. That is because of the artillery. And I don't want to eat any more shots from the artillery until my team sort of come to help me. Once that happens, I'll then try and move in because I'm looking at the mini-map, and our heavy tanks are winning the town, and I was thinking if the artillery was down there, they could push and shoot them, but actually the artillery is actually on this side, so I am going to try and push up now and see if we can get any shots in. The Lorraine is full health, so I have to be careful I don't get clipped out by that tank there. There's also this enemy eradicator here. He's hold down to me, awkward to pen. I can pen the cupola if I can actually hit it. It's got quite a lot of spaced armour, so some of my shells get absorbed. Now I get shot by something I can't detect. I think it's the enemy Panzerwagen, the enemy tank destroyer. I'm not going to be able to spot that tank, and he does have to heat pen to be able to pen my little eyes. You can pen just underneath the gun on eyes if you have enough pen. So I'm going to try and get some shots into this Lorraine here. Put one shot in. Can we get another one in? No, he gets into cover. We're going to try and go for the cupola on this enemy heavy tank here. Now I say it is possible for us to pen, but so far we haven't managed that. 12 versus 7. This game is looking like a win. I still want to get as most out of this game as I can, but with I'm only being on sort of 500 hit points, I do have to be a little bit careful. And I am going to need to wait for help from my friendly team. I am starting to pick up some assistance though. This Lorraine looks like he's trying to put his clip into someone, and before we know it, he stayed there too long, and I've put 2 shots into him, picking up another 600 damage, putting us on to about just shy of 5,000 damage. Finally we pen the cupola here on the heavy tank, force him to go down. We get onto that reload and try and get into push a bit more advanced here to try and get some more damage out of this game, which is closing off and looking like we're going to pick up the win. 5,000 damage, 1,300 assistance, 3,500 blocked. This enemy tank destroyer gets absolutely slapped. He is onto a one shot. We're just going to see if we can kill the enemy fun police, and boom, we ammo rack him and detonate that, picking up our 4th kill of the game. And it's only this one enemy medium tank left. Like I say, if I continued playing this game, I'm sure I'll probably get a 10k game in this tank. It just needs the right situation for me to be able to do that. But I just wanted to get a replay out. Yeah, just think this tank is, in my opinion, the most overpowered tank in the game right now. And they're giving it away for free. So yeah, have fun with that. Yeah, but that is it for the replay. Thank you so much for your amazing support. And as always, happy tanking.
Hadouken!